Good evening. This is the Angry Capitalist doing the Angry Capitalist podcast. We are now on episode 9, and today we're going to be covering a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's one that's very near and dear to my heart, which is sales and marketing. You may hear one of the anarcho cats or both of them freaking out in the background. Please don't worry, they have been fed. They just want second dinner. But their vet says no to second dinner, so we'll just ignore them. So, covering sales and marketing, and specifically one thing that I personally use to help me in how I think about sales and marketing is related to fishing. Um, that probably sounds a bit odd, but bear with me. So, for the full process of sales and marketing, it can really be broken down into 3 aspects. The first, which is customer identification. Second is your marketing. And then third is your sales, where you convert and close a customer into a transaction or a prospect into a customer via transaction. So, how the heck does this relate to phishing, right? Well, in customer identification, you need to know who your customers are. Some kind of descriptor of who they are. What age are they? What sex are they? Male or female, perhaps, or both? What kind of personality do they have? What things are they into? So, who are they? Where do they tend to hang out, both physically as well as online? What kind of TV do they engage in? Do they engage in TV at all? Do they watch YouTube? Are they on Instagram? Where do they hang out? Where do they put their attention? And then third, for what kind of things do they like and do they dislike? In order to market to them, you need to know who it is you're marketing to and where they're at, where their attention is going. Now, for marketing, the way I would describe this, and I'm going to use a clip of tuna fishing, marketing is a bit like chumming the water, whether that be for like tuna fish, catfish, shark fishing. Effectively, you're doing some kind of a broadcast attractant into the marketplace, ideally in the place where your customers tend to hang out. And it needs to be something that is either emotional and or instinctive. So, for example, going back to the example of chum, right? At the end of this, I'm going to have a video clip where you have tuna fishermen and they have live minnows or dead minnows. I don't know specifically in this case, but they're taking a bunch of minnows, which are very shiny, and tuna, they know that tuna feed in this area, and they tend to feed off of, bait fish, meaning fish that school that are shiny. So they're tossing those into the water, and they have a gentleman toss a jack pole into the water with a minnow on the end of it. So they've done this broadcast attractant in the place where their customer is, in this case, tuna fish that they're going to catch. And then third, sales. So sales is commonly you'll hear people talk about a bait and switch. In this case, I prefer to say a bait and hook. What is the bait? The bait is the offering. The bait is the thing that your customer, in this example, a tuna fish, wants. And the hook, with this example, it's literally a hook. But for the purpose of sales, it's the cost. So there's an offering, you put it out there for the customer, and there's a cost associated with it. Now, keep in mind, no matter how good your marketing is, if your offering is not something that your customer wants, and if the offering is not of equal or greater value to your customer than the cost, the hook, they're not going to bite, they're not going to take it. Now, keep in mind, we are looking at this from, 10,000 feet up in a full system view. So to apply this to a sales process, I've been using fishing as an analogy up until this point. Let's do a quick run through as if we were going to fish for a human customer. So who are we going to sell to? We're going to sell to, let's see, late teen, early 20 chicks named like Brittany, or your stereotypical basic white girl, loves pumpkin spice lattes, goes to Starbucks, and is a blogger, and they're on Instagram. So who are they? It's a late teens, early 20s female of this particular cultural niche. Where are they? They're in shopping centers like Target. They're on Instagram. That's where their attention is. That's where they spend some of their time. What do they like? What do they don't like? They like coffee. Take your pick of things they don't like. I'm not going to get into that. Marketing. So how do we use this, right? So in location, we need to have our attractant in a location that they spend their time. For this example, let's say we're using Instagram. So we're going to produce an attractant on Instagram. Now it needs to be something that they will emotionally and or instinctively respond to. I'm not the best person to come up with a advertisement for this cultural segment. So I'm just going to say that it's some kind of new coffee, a new holiday coffee brew that's being put out there. And within the ad, I'm also using animals, dogs or something like that, to have an emotional attachment to. It doesn't even need to be specific about your product. So long as that ad or that attractant somehow triggers emotions, it's going to be ingrained within them. Third, sale. So if we're using, let's say, for example, a reel style ad, and this attractant that we're putting out there, this chum marketing, is a Instagram reel. We've hit their emotional notes. We're presenting them even within the advertisement, the attractant, some kind of an offering. This holiday coffee that's very delicious and very seasonal. There's a cost associated with it. Let's go ahead and say it's $5.99, and you can find it at pick your coffee establishment, whatever you want to do. Within this, and we're also inserting where it can be purchased, right? So we've put this chum out into the water, so to speak, the waters of Instagram. Now that's going to draw them in. So perhaps that will draw them into our coffee establishment, and that may go ahead and get them to buy that coffee. Now, here's where we start to have double layers onto this, right? We're using this broadcast method of attractant via the Instagram reel. Now, it's great to sell them on the $5.99 coffee, but that's a pretty low transactional cost, or a pretty low transactional sales price for our purpose, right? At this coffee establishment, we're going to have other things that are less advertised via the waters of Instagram, but at our location, they will be advertised via the smell of some baked goods, pictures that'll be up, things like that, right? And so they go in there, and we're hitting them again with a new wave of marketing of these other options that they could potentially purchase. And of course, we have the relevant cost, the hook, listed there for them too. Now, because ideally we've brought in enough customers of the specific type of individual that we're looking to buy, that would be interested in our products, because we brought enough of them into the store, this coffee establishment, some of them are just going to buy the coffee. Some of them we can then cross-sell these various other goods. Now, Getting into upsells. This is where you have to start looking at your feedback and adjustment. So, along each step of this process, right, we could be wrong. We could have our information slightly off. Let's say, for example, we started advertising Christmas themed coffees or winter holiday themed coffees um, way too early in the season. Or we started, actually, yeah, no. Let's say we started advertising Christmas themed coffees in an area that is majority Muslim. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. It's certainly possible that it won't. So there's some kind of a mismatch between our customer identification of who we're trying to sell to, where we're trying to sell these products, or to market our products to. There may also be a disconnect between what they like and don't like. Use the recent example of Bud Light as an example, as a case point. Bud Light is, if you're American, you'll immediately think Bud Light redneck beer. It's one of those. It's one of those kinds of beverages. It is enjoyed by a very. It was enjoyed by a very specific sort of clientele. Without getting into the politics of the situation, in my estimation, just as a sales and marketing professional, the whole deal with Dylan Mulvaney, awesome. Glad to do business with whoever you want to do business with. But for marketing purposes, that doesn't align with your customers' likes and dislikes. So, really, what I'm getting at here is that each step along the way, you need to look for feedback and adjust accordingly. Let's say, for example, we promoted our coffee beverage on the wrong platform, or for the wrong season, or for the wrong sort of customer. Whenever we see a decrease in activity, or if we see a breakdown in the sales and marketing and sales process, we have to go back, re-examine, and adjust. Additionally, let's say you then want to cross-sell and or upsell. Cross-sell is where you have a customer who has a particular item of something that you're selling to, and during the same transactional event, you're cross-selling them some other kind of product that is in some way related. So, for example, if we're selling coffee, I've got my McDonald's coffee right here. Delicious, cheap, delicious, same thing, right? Along with this coffee, I may have bought, let's say, for example, some kind of a breakfast sandwich. That's something that's very analogous to coffee. Coffee, usually drink in the morning. You can cross sell them breakfast. Now, when we go into upselling, that's where you've had one sales transaction and you're looking to sell them a new thing. Um, so, for example, if we're getting our basic white chick customers in who are drinking their holiday coffee, latte, whatever, and we're cross selling them on some baked goods, if we want to then upsell them, we can now upsell those customers, provided they've had a good experience with us and that bait and hook, the offering and cost was worth it to them. They may come back again and we can then upsell them on our next thing. So, as an example, we did a marketing campaign for pumpkin spice with like Halloween, Thanksgiving, that time of year. We then upsell them onto the holidays, or we upsell them onto a higher ticket item. Uh, let's say, for example, we are somehow affiliated with I don't know, a local farm that does pumpkin chunking and like hay rides during autumn, right? Let's say we want to upsell our customers onto that higher ticket item. Even if it's not being directly produced by us, we can still potentially sell it. So within our coffee establishment, hey, guess what? Um, if you buy one of these coffees, you get X amount off of, or if you buy 10 coffees, you get X amount off of a hay ride or whatever. Using a lower cost ticket item, we've marketed to them, we've sold them on the one item, they like that experience. What else do you got? Upsell them something else. Typically, it is easier to resell and upsell pre-existing customers with a pre-existing relationship than it is to bring in new business. New business is the harder aspect there. So long as you don't fuck it up and ruin your relationship with your customers, typically it's way easier to continue to resell to the same people. That being said, within many business courses, they will preach the benefits of upselling and reselling, so on and so forth, and that's great. However, always remember to be able to go back to the basics and sell a new customer, bring in new business. It's great to upsell, it's great to resell people, but just in my estimation, and for what I recommend for many people who are starting or growing a business, be really, really good at new business. And just don't fuck over your customers and stay consistent with them and who they are and what they don't like. And reselling will most likely take care of itself. And then once you start to get to a position to where your organic growth is starting to hit its capacity, then consider cross-selling and upselling higher ticket stuff. Just my recommendation when it comes to this. So let's go ahead and watch that clip of tuna fishing. Okay, so this is the Tom Jones YouTube channel with Shake and Bake Sports Fishing. And this is catching tuna fish with a jack pole. Adjust the volume down. Chumming. Boom. Fish on. Marketing. Sale. Fish on. Oh. Hell yeah. Oh. Good work. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause right there. So I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that they had the seagull swoop down right there towards the end with the last gentleman, because that's actually a pretty good example of I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So you will have customers who are referred to as window shoppers or people who are not a serious buyer. They're not who you're trying to sell to, right? This usually applies more if you're selling higher dollar item things. You want to make sure that if you are marketing and doing this whole sales process, this goes back to the feedback and adjustment that you are selling to people who have the money to buy it on hand, meaning cash, uh, credit. So if it's a higher dollar item, let's say home repairs as an example, you're selling storm windows or new roofing, something like that. They need to have either cash or sufficient credit to be able to finance that. So this is something that I've had happen in my own sales career that is hella frustrating. Um, is when the company that you're with, this is when I've worked for larger organizations, is putting out this marketing and they're marketing to the wrong people. And we have a lot of window shoppers, tire kickers coming in who are not even they're not even able to buy what it is you have to sell, and that creates a bunch of wasted time, wasted opportunity. So that's something to have in mind too, right? Is during that sales process, how many people are you bringing in, or how many people are you attracting via your marketing? Are a qualifiable lead, meaning a lead is someone who is expressed interest in what you're selling, that your person at the counter or your person that will go to their house or answer the phone or call them can then convert into a sale, meaning offer them their value. In this case, the bait that the tuna fish want. The seagulls, in this case, also want the bait. um, but for a cost, like, yeah, technically the seagulls can and will get themselves hooked. I've had that happen before when I've been out fishing. It's crazy, hectic, pain in the ass. Um, but for your actual customer out there, right? They can't handle the cost. So I'm kind of glad that popped into my head with that video right there. Once again, that was Tom Jones' YouTube channel with Shake and Bake Sports Fishing. Um, go ahead and check them out if you're into that kind of thing, or if you want to see more of that footage. Um, go ahead and give him a subscribe too. He's got like 40 subscribers. Check him out. They do like charter fishing. So to recap, the three elements of your sales and marketing process. This is also often referred to as a sales funnel. Customer identification. Who are you trying to sell to? Where do they hang out? Where does their attention go? What do they like? What do they don't like? Marketing. Chumming. So in the video there, you see the guy throwing the little minnows out into the water that draw the tuna fish in. It needs to be in a location where your customer will be physically or be digitally. And it's got to be something that will be an attractant to them, something that will get them interested. It's got to have some kind of an emotional and or an instinctive connection with them, right? Sale. So to actually take that prospect, that person who is interested in your offering, and convert them into a customer, meaning do a transaction with them, you have to have a process set up to whereby they can do that. Oh, hello there. Sorry, it's probably hard to see, but we just had one of the anarcho cats come to us in the void. Hello there, buddy. Bath stop. You gonna come down? Oh, okay. It's pretty hard to see there in the darkness. So you've got to have your sales process set up, whether you're selling via the counter, over the phone, in person at their house. digitally, even like if they're entering their card info online, set up to where you're attracting people who are a qualifiable buyer, they're a solid lead that can be sold, and that have the money to purchase what you're offering. Additionally, and I wanted to leave this for the very end, thank you for watching the video to this point. Here's kind of a secret technique and a secret trick. You want your transaction at the end of the sale to be as easy as possible. My personal recommendation when it comes to closing the sale, meaning doing the deal, they get their offering, you get your compensation, your money. Try to keep it under 3 steps and below. What I mean by 3 steps is agreement of terms, signing anything, billing info, and receipt of service. Those last 2 kind of being the same thing there. But point being is you don't want to have them go through 7, 10 different steps. I've had people try and call me to sell me, who someone calls me, we build up a good rapport, I'm kind of interested in what they're selling, and they pass me off to someone else. Boom, I'm gone. That just became, like I built up a rapport with this person, they're handing me off to someone else. This is starting to become way too many steps. Or they hand me off to another person, maybe I'm still interested. And then there's like all the questions that the first person asked me, all the discussion that we just had, they redo it. Too many steps, too complicated, no thank you, I'm going to leave. So try and keep the sales process for your customer as easy as possible, right? Confirmation in some way that, yes, I want to do the deal. Here's payment. I receive the service. Is straightforward and simple as that. Keep that in mind, that the more steps and the more complicated you make that final sale process, the more qualified leads you're just going to lose, right? Thank you so much for watching this video on sales and marketing. If you have any questions, comments, maybe if you're in the sales and marketing field, what did you think about this video? Anything you agree or disagree with? And especially if you have some kind of a funny story about a sale or the way a company was handling something via sales and marketing, I absolutely want to hear about that down in the comments below. So thank you. I hope this helped, and have a good evening. Take care.